Hi there, my name's Caitlin Bandy and this is my channel Bandy's Books, and today we are here to do my favorite video of the month, and that is the July 2024 Book of the Month predictions. July is a crazy month. There are so many books coming out. While there are quite a few books by repeat authors, there are also a ton of books by debut authors. This makes for such an exciting mix of books in the various genres we're going to talk about today. So as per usual, I have 16 books picked out for you, and honestly, I'm really excited about a lot of the books on this list. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We're going to start with the historical fiction genre like usual. My first selection for historical fiction is The Briar Club by Kate Quinn. This currently has a 4.46 and 186 reviews on Goodreads so far. Washington, D.C., 1950. Everyone keeps themselves at the Briarwood House, a down-on-its-heels, all-female boarding house in the center of the nation's capital. It's a place where secrets hide behind white picket fences. But when the lovely, mysterious widow Grace March moves into the attic, she draws her oddball collection of neighbors into an unlikely friendship. I've selected this book for Book of the Month because Kate Quinn is a really well-known and loved historical fiction author. Her previous books, Diamond Eye and The Rose Code, have all done really well, and I know that Book of the Month has never previously featured her, but there's no time like the present for them to start. This book is set in an era and explores a specific topic that I don't see that often in historical fiction. It sounds really good, and again, with Kate Quinn's writing style, I think that this could be a fantastic pick for Book of the Month. And then I have 1,000 Times Before by Asha Thanki. This currently has a 4.19 and 21 ratings on Goodreads so far. Ayukta is finally sitting down with her wife to respond to a question that she's long been avoiding. Should they have a child? The decision is complicated by a secret that her family has been keeping for centuries. The women in her family inherit a mysterious tapestry. Through that tapestry, each generation of women can experience the memories of the generations previous to her. Ayukta invites Nadia into this lineage. She relives her grandmother Amla's life. Once a happy child in Karachi, Amla migrates to Gujarat during partition, witnessing violence and loss that forever shape her life. Amla's daughter Arnie, in 1974, witnesses gender equity and urban class distinctions divide the populace as student protests take hold. As Ayukta unspools these generations of women, she reveals the tapestry's second gift, the ability for each of these women to reshape their worlds. Like all power, both fantastic and societal, this inheritance is more treacherous than it seems. I've selected this book for Book of the Month because this is a debut novel, and this seems like it's the type of book that's right up the Book of the Month alley. They love these generational family sagas. They love explorations of historical fiction mixed in with family dynamics. They also seem to appreciate books that have those magical realism elements in them, and this definitely has that. I really love the description of this book, and I think that this could be a really nice pick for Book of the Month. Next up, we have the mystery, thriller, horror genres, and I have 3 picks this month, all 3 of which are from repeat authors. First up, I have The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This currently has a 4.42 and 402 ratings on Goodreads so far. Early morning, August 1975. A camp counselor discovers an empty bunk. Its occupant, Barbara Van Laar, has gone missing. Barbara isn't just any 13-year-old. She is the daughter of the family that owns the summer camp and the place that employs most of the town's residents. And this isn't the first time that a Van Laar child has disappeared. Barbara's older brother similarly vanished 14 years ago, never to be found. I selected this book for Book of the Month because Liz Moore was previously featured by Book of the Month, and I'm struggling to remember the name of the book right now, but I did read it, and I remember it was a police procedural about a woman who is looking for her missing sister and a drug epidemic, I want to say, in somewhere like Philadelphia. It's a pretty gritty book. This one sounds like it's going to be a little bit different than that one. It's going to be more in that traditional thriller sense, but it sounds really interesting, and the reviews on it are really good so far. I also really like that this cover is a lot different than the typical thriller cover. Then I have Look in the Mirror by Catherine Steadman. This currently has a 3.89 and 417 ratings on Goodreads so far. Still grieving her father's death, Nina learns that she has inherited property in the British Virgin Islands. It's a vacation home that she had no idea existed until now. The house is extraordinary, state-of-the-art, all glass and marble. How did her sensible father come into enough money for this? Why did he keep it from her? And what else was he hiding? I've selected this book for Book of the Month because Catherine Steadman has also been previously featured by Book of the Month, and I think her previous feature was pretty popular. This book sounds like it is a pretty straightforward thriller, but those seem to do really well with Book of the Month, so I could see this being at least an add-on. My third selection for the thriller genre is The Hollywood Assistant by Cobb. This currently has a 4.46 and 54 ratings on Goodreads so far. Cassidy Foster is stuck in life until a well-connected friend gets her a gig as a personal assistant to a Hollywood famous couple. The Sterlings are warm and welcoming, and Nate even takes a special interest in Cassidy, helping her to jumpstart her writing dreams. But the Sterlings aren't the perfect couple, and when one of them is found dead at the bottom of the swimming pool, Cassidy becomes the perfect suspect. I've selected this book for Book of the Month because Cobb was also previously featured for her book, The Hunting Wives. This one sounds really good. It's getting really good reviews so far, and I suspect that this could be at least an add-on. Next up, we have the romance genre. I have 2 selections this month. First up, I have The Villain Edit by Laurie Devore. Romance novelist Jacqueline Mathis's career has gone bust. She's ditched the bright lights of New York City for the more affordable hometown in South Carolina. Desperate, Jack dreams up a comeback plan. She's gonna be a contestant on The One, the world's most obsessively watched reality dating television show. So I've selected this book for Book of the Month because this is the type of romance that I feel like Book of the Month likes to feature. I've actually seen this particular premise in One to Watch, and I could see them featuring something similar again. This one looks like it might have some differences, and it's an author that they haven't previously featured. My second selection for the romance genre is The Design of Us by Sajni Patel. This currently has a 3.92 and 50 ratings on Goodreads so far. Sunshine incarnate Banu brings big energy to whatever she does, including going for a promotion where her only competition is her work nemesis, Sunny, the grump with the Denzel voice. She expected to get a reprieve from him while visiting her family in Hawaii, but the universe has other plans. When Banu runs into Sunny and witnesses his ex criticizing him about being single, Banu does the first thing that impetuously comes to her mind. She claims to be Sunny's girlfriend just to get some peace and quiet. Except Sunny is on the island for a friend's wedding, and his ex has already texted the entire group about Sunny's mysterious new girlfriend. I selected this book for Book of the Month because I am shockingly actually familiar with Patel's writing. I read one of her previous books, I think it was called The Trouble with Hating You, and I actually found it pretty enjoyable. I think her writing style is decent. I thought her characters were well developed, and I appreciated the cultural aspects that she mixed in with the story. If this book is anything like that, then I think this could be a really good Book of the Month selection. Moving right along, we're going to jump into the literary and contemporary fiction genres. I have 5 selections this month, and honestly, I had to really chop it down. I think I had like 10 books on this list that could have potentially fit into this genre. First up, I have The Road to the Salt Sea by Samuel Kolawole. This currently has a 4.71 and 14 ratings on Goodreads so far. Abel God works for low pay at a 4-star hotel where he must flash his pearly whites for wealthy guests. When not attending to the wealthy guests at the hotel, he muses over self-help books and draws life lessons from the game of chess. But Abel's ordinary life is upended when an early morning room service call leads him to interfere with Akudo, a sex worker involved with a powerful but dangerous hotel guest. Suddenly caught in a web of violence, guilt, and fear, Abel must run to save himself. This journey leads him into the desert with a group of drug-addled migrants, led by a charismatic religious leader calling himself Ben 10. The traveler's dream of reaching Europe and a new life is shattered when they find themselves falling victim to human traffickers, enduring starvation and near death, fighting for their lives and their freedom. So I've selected this book for Book of the Month because I think that this sounds like a fantastic read. I love that this is going to talk about the complexities and the difficulties of immigration and what that journey looks like. It sounds like in pretty unflinching detail. I also think it's pretty remarkable when I go to do some research on a book and find nothing but 5-star reviews. To me, that indicates that this is going to be a really good read, and whether Book of the Month picks this one up or not, I definitely want to read it. I really hope that they end up featuring it. Oh, and I forgot to mention that this is also a debut novel, and I know that Book of the Month does like to occasionally feature debuts. I feel like it's been a couple months that have been repeat author heavy, so I'd love to see them put some fresh blood into their selections. And then we have The Same Bright Stars by Ethan Joella. This currently has a 4.39 and 214 ratings on Goodreads so far. 3 generations of Schmidts have run their family's beachfront restaurant, and Jack has been at the helm since his father's death. He puts the demands of the restaurant above anything else. He has a string of failed relationships, no hobbies, and no days off as proof of his commitment to the place. He can't even remember the last time that he had a moment to himself or that he sat on the beach. Meanwhile, the Deldine group has been snatching up eateries along this stretch of coast, and it's pursuing Jack with a very generous offer to take Schmitz off his hands. Jack craves companionship and maybe even a family. He wonders whether closing the door on the restaurant might open up a window for him. But who would he be without Schmitz? Can he trust Aldines that they will continue to employ his staff and honor his family's legacy? I selected this book for Book of the Month because Joella has been previously featured, so he would be a repeat author. This particular book sounds really good. I love the concept of this man who's dedicated everything to a restaurant, and now he wants some work-life balance. I personally, as a chef, feel that extremely deeply. I think this could be really emotional and a reflection on what work brings us and what like family life brings us. This could be a smart pick for Book of the Month. I would be surprised if this isn't at least an add-on. Then we have The Townsend Family Recipe for Disaster by Shauna Robinson. This currently has a 4.26 and 46 ratings on Goodreads so far. May Townsend has always dreamed of reconnecting with her estranged Black family in the South. She grew up picturing relatives who looked like her, crowded dinner tables and bustling kitchens. And of course, the Townsend family barbecue, the tradition that kept her father flying back year after year, despite the mysterious rift that always required her to stay behind. But as May's wedding draws closer, promising a future of always standing out amongst her white in-laws, suddenly not knowing the Townsends hits her like a hard blow. So when news arrives that her paternal grandmother has passed away, she decides it's time to head south. What she finds is a family in turmoil, a long-standing grudge intact, a lost mac and cheese recipe, and a family barbecue on the brink of disaster. Not willing to let her dreams of family slip away, May steps up and offers to throw a barbecue that everyone will remember. I selected this book for Book of the Month because I see this as being like right up their alley. They love these types of stories that explore family dynamics. There's a rift, we don't know what it is, there's all of this drama going on. And we have this woman that is facing a major change in life, getting married into a new family, and she wants to get in touch with her roots before she does it. I think these are all things that I've seen Book of the Month feature before, and very successfully so. This one sounds like it's going to be excellent, and I wouldn't mind seeing it in the Book of the Month box at all. After that, I have Only Big BumBum Matters Tomorrow by Damilare Kuku. This currently has a 3.86 and 59 ratings on Goodreads so far. Freshly out of university, 20-year-old Temi has a clear plan. She's going to surgically enhance her backside like all the other Nigerian women, move from Ile-Ife to Lagos, and meet a man who will love her senseless. When she finally finds the courage to tell her mother, her older sister, and her aunties, her announcement causes an uproar. Nigerian families can really be an obstacle in a girl's search for perfection. But as each of the other women try to cure Temi of what seems like temporary insanity, they begin to spill long-buried secrets, including the truth about Temi's older sister and her mysterious disappearance 5 years earlier. In the end, it seems like Temi might be the sanest of them all. I've selected this book for Book of the Month knowing that it is probably a big long shot, but this sounds like a hilarious read to me. Just the title alone makes me giggle. This is the author who just had a short story collection come out with pretty good critical acclaim. I believe it was called All the Men in Nigeria Are Mad, and this is her novel debut. I think that this could be a really fun pick for Book of the Month, and I would love to see them feature more African literature. The couple times that they have done so, it's gone really well for them, and I think that this one could be a hit as well. Then we have Off the Books by Soma Shang Frazier. This currently has a 4.17 and 65 ratings on Goodreads so far. Recent Dartmouth dropout Mai, in search of a new direction in life, drives a limo for a living. Her grandfather convinces her to allow her clients to pay for rides under the table, and before she knows it, she is a routine driver for sex workers. Mai does her best to mind her own business, but her knack for discretion soon leads her on a life-changing trip from San Francisco to Syracuse. Handsome and reserved Henry piques Mai's interest, toting an enormous black suitcase with him everywhere he goes. He's more concerned with taking frequent breaks than he is with making good time. When Mai discovers Henry's secret, she decides that she has no choice but to confront him. What Henry reveals shakes Mai to her core. This once casual transactional relationship now has high moral stakes and dangerous consequences. I've selected this book for Book of the Month because it is a debut novel. I've been seeing it pop up quite a bit, and the early review copies are receiving really good feedback. There are some themes in this book that I think Book of the Month likes to feature, but at the same time, I think there are elements of this book that are a little bit different from what Book of the Month has done in the past. Again, I would love to see some more debut authors, as I feel like the last couple months have been repeat author heavy. So this could be a really smart pick for Book of the Month. Next up, we're going to be jumping into the fantasy and science fiction genres. I have 3 picks. First up, I have All This and More by Peng Shepherd. This currently has a 3.85 and 118 reviews on Goodreads so far. Meek, Play It Safe Marsh has just turned 45 and her life is in shambles. Her career is stagnant, her marriage has imploded, and her teenage daughter just seems to grow more distant by the day. Marsh is convinced that she's missed her chance at everything. She's desperate for a do-over. She can't believe her luck when she's selected for a famous TV show called All This and More. It's a show that uses quantum technology to allow its contestants to revise their pasts and change their presents. It's Marsh's only shot to seize her dreams, and she's determined to get it right this time. But even as she rises to become a famous lawyer, gets back with her high school sweetheart, and travels the world, she begins to worry that all this and more's promises might be too good to be true. Because while the technology is amazing, something seems just a bit off. I've selected this book for Book of the Month because Peng Shepherd has been previously featured for her book, The Cartographers, and I think that was a pretty good selection. I could see this one being a good choice as well. This also has a premise that's kind of similar to The Midnight Library, which was another book that did really well for Book of the Month. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one pops up in the Book of the Month box. Then we have The Lost Story by Meg Shaffer. This currently has a 4.13 and 994 ratings on Goodreads so far. This book is inspired by C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia. As boys, best friends Jeremy and Raph went missing in a Virginia state forest, only to mysteriously reappear 6 months later with no explanation of how they'd survived or where they'd gone. 15 years after the mysterious homecoming, Raph is an artist who still bears his scars inside and out, and yet he has no memory of what happened during those months. Meanwhile, Jeremy has become a famed missing persons investigator. With his uncanny abilities, he's the only person who can help vet tech Emily find her missing sister. She vanished in the very same forest as Raph and Jeremy. Jeremy alone knows a fantastical truth about the disappearances. While the rest of the world was searching for them, the two boys were in a realm of magical beauty and impossible danger. However, Jeremy has kept Raph in the dark since their return for his own inscrutable reasons. But the time for keeping secrets has come to an end as the quest for Emily's sister begins. The former Lost Boys must confront their own pasts, no matter how traumatic it was. I've selected this book for Book of the Month because Meg Shaffer has been previously featured for her book The Wishing Game, which seemed to be a really popular pick. She does this kind of cozy sort of writing that's inspired by nostalgia reads from childhood, and that formula worked really well for her the first time. Let's see if it'll work really well for her a second time. I feel like this is probably one of the strongest possibilities for Book of the Month. As much as I would love to see a different book on their selections, I will be shocked if this one is not selected. And then I have My Mother Cursed by Name by Anomaly Salgado Reyes. Felicitas Olivares is terribly disappointed when she meets her estranged grandmother for the first time. Olvido is nothing like a grandmother should be. She is strict, cold, and dead. Olvido is convinced that the only way her spirit will finally cross over is if she is buried in Mexico, though she hasn't been back since she crossed the border decades ago into the United States. When this plan fails to move Olvido on, she decides that she must have more unfinished business, and she thinks it involves her daughter Angustias. She must do whatever she can to make sure that Angustias is in a better place regarding her family, her job, her husband, and God. But maybe not in that order. Heartbroken about her mother's passing and anxious to put her tiny Texas home in the rearview mirror as quickly as possible, Angustias doesn't understand why everyone in town seems determined to set her up with every single eligible bachelor. Suddenly, they're offering her jobs and inviting her and Felicitas to church every Sunday. Only her daughter Felicitas knows Olvido's plans, but she can't bring herself to tell her mother the truth. Or, the fact that she sees ghosts. But she's also not the only one who's been keeping secrets. I've selected this book for Book of the Month because it is a debut novel. Again, it has that multi-generational storytelling approach, and I love that there is a supernatural element. I think these are some of the things that Book of the Month likes to feature. I love that this has a tie-in with Mexican culture, and I think that this could be a really fun selection for Book of the Month. I would love, again, to see them featuring some more debut authors, so here is another option for them. And finally, we're gonna get to our last genre, which is nonfiction/memoir. I have one selection this month, and that is The Lucky Ones by Zara Chowdhary. This currently has a 4.20 and 5 ratings on Goodreads so far. In 2002, Zara Chowdhary was 16 years old, living with her family in Ahmedabad, one of India's fastest growing metropolises, when a gruesome anti-Muslim pogrom interrupted her world. Instead of taking her school exams, she's locked down for 3 months with thousands of others. Everyone is fearing for their community and their lives. The chief minister in the state at the time, Narendra Modi, is accused of fomenting anti-Muslim violence. He would become prime minister and lead a government that was committed to eroding the rights of India's 220 million Muslims. In The Lucky Ones, Chowdhary weaves the past and present of her multi-generational Muslim family, juxtaposing the horrific violence of the fascistic forces on the streets with the more mundane violence of patriarchal joint families at the dinner table. Through the stories of sisters, daughters, and mothers raising each other, Chowdhary shows how women hold this world together. I've selected this book for Book of the Month because this is Chowdhary's debut memoir, and this is about a topic I feel like a lot of people should know a lot more about. This is relatively recent history. We're only talking about 20 years in the past. And in a lot of ways, these policies are still affecting people today. I think this is going to be really moving. And I think that while we have seen memoirs previously of how women are treated in India, I think that this is going to have a different element as well, because not only are we dealing with a patriarchal society, but now we're also dealing with the writer of the book being in a minority group in this country and being actively targeted. I think that this will have a lot of important things to say, and I think that this could be a very poignant selection for Book of the Month. So that is the end of my picks for July 2024. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up and comment down below and let me know what you think of my picks. Are there any where you're like, yes, that is a fantastic pick? Any that you think I'm crazy for including? Or are there any books that I didn't include in this list that you think are very likely to be in the Book of the Month box? And as always, if you're not subscribed to this channel, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button down below, as well as the notification bell so that you never miss a video. And that way we can see each other again soon. Thanks so much for joining. Bye.